Welcome into the Fantasy Sanctuary. I am Tyler, your host today. We are without Tom. He's in between house moving. So, in his stead, I have brought on two fantastic guests today to join me for our Best Ball Mania on Monday drafts. We have a light goal. So, you hit those light goals. We rip a second draft for you fine folks on this Monday. Let's get into it without further ado. Bindles, Best Ball Guy, aka Eric. Welcome to the channel. How we doing, boys?
I'm doing great. Just enjoying another day, another draft. Nothing too new going on over here. Thanks for having me.
It's always a good day when I'm with the fellas, and excited to draft with you guys.
Hell yeah. Bindles, I think you just wrapped up a Dynasty stream with a very awesome guest. So folks, go check that out. Live from his balcony. We love the balcony streams. And then just a housekeeping note for folks before we jump into this Best Ball Mania. We'll be doing these drafts. And then after this, we'll jump on to Eric's channel, linked in the comments below for some drafts over there. So several hours on deck. Again, if you want, guys, get that like goal up. We hit that hot and heavy. Say, hey, what up? Who Hames? The Sharkus? And then Thad. Also, I have to, every time y'all say this stuff, I have to validate if you're bullshitting me or not. Oh, yeah, no, breaking news.
Wow.
Justin Tucker released by the Ravens. Wow. So I'm shocked that they actually did something of high character, which to me that means
missing kicks last year anyway. So,
they have no. They have kept shittier players for worse things. To me, that signals we're about to get a news dump on Friday, probably, of all the heinous shit he's been accused of.
Yeah, they're getting ahead of it for sure. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think this means more is coming. / the legality stuff is picking up. So while we vamp about that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into a Best Ball Mania. 6 more for folks. See, that's the thing. If it was a football decision, you do it right after the season, right? You don't sit on it it is May. Like, I think you can release him after he misses all the kicks in January, February. Hell, even before the draft, you just say, hey, we're going to decide to reset.
I thought they did, but apparently not.
You thought they released Justin Tucker already?
I totally thought, because they drafted the guy. I thought during the draft they were saying how Justin Tucker's been their guy, but they're making a point here or something by drafting the only kicker of the draft so far. Do you remember that?
Maybe I missed that. Oh, they did. They did draft Tyler Loop out of Arizona in the 6th round.
And then was because the announcer was like, and this is the Ravens want to make a statement here to the people that they're not dealing with this stuff. And that's why they're taking the first kicker of this year's draft, blah, blah, blah. It was I was like, whoa. I thought he was already gone. That's why.
But there you go. Some alpha for Best Ball Guy, who streamed the entirety of day 2 and day 3, seemingly. So watched it and heard it live.
It's not live for 6th and 7th round, but yeah, it's got close.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun time to draft right now. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Drinko for those of us that celebrate. We had any good things to drink or eat today for Cinco de Mayo?
I do have Modelo's in the fridge, and I did buy some ground beef, so I could make some tacos tonight. I might make that happen, actually. Just get out ahead of this whole Cinco de Drinko thing.
Yeah, I hit up our local taqueria yesterday with my wife to have some carnitas tacos, some steak quesadillas, some flautas. Almost got the burrito, but got that last time, so wanted to change it up. Some guacamole, of course. And so today is slop shred summer meals. So David protein bars, cauliflower rice and chicken. Nothing fun today. I really swapped those days around.
It's slop season.
Yeah,
indeed it is.
What are you guys doing? Fill this BBM.
Yeah, I guess no one wants to draft BBM.
30-second clocks. You get to see all the picks that we're probably trying to make. I mean, come on.
It's plus EV.
Has to be.
Yeah, I get the what up, Chris? What up, Hartman? I get what up, Coolers. I get the hesitancy before the schedule, but I do think there's not a death sentence.
What kind of edge do we have left here? Like one edge that I was thinking of was kind of doing this a little bit more in the beginning of the big board, but it was just mainly aiming to draft like non-zeros. I think like people are getting a little ahead of themselves, throwing like maybe too many rookies or kind of like dart throws like at the end of their drafts, or even like those like kind of confusing tight end rooms, like just kind of waiting on that information, just trying to find any player that will be on the field seemingly like to start the year. Seems like a decent pick. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's I feel like that's where I'm kind of hesitant to take some of these late round rookie running backs that are also going very late behind veterans, because we've already decided, like, some of it's already we're drafting as we've already decided they're likely to be the handcuff, and plenty of those guys don't get to that depth chart by late summer, let alone post preseason. You know, like vets easily come in that weren't on the team all summer, come in at late in the camp or after week one. We saw it a few times last year with Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt. So I'm a little hesitant. And then we even saw some like backup running backs. Indianapolis stands out a few times where we've seen like the backup go into week one, have a really bad game, and then get absolutely cut and never heard from again. And then the RB3, RB4 get a shot at that. So yeah, I think that's where I'm trying to avoid the quote unquote zeros right now. And where I think at least the receivers and tight ends have a little bit less fragility to be absolute zeros.
I think ending your draft with a tight end right now is how I like to do it. That's like one of the only places I can really find the starter, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah, or at least not even like it's like avoiding a dead spot, but also ideally adding some sort of spike, some sort of usable week to your roster. And tight end's the easiest position to do that with, because the
intentionally leaving out like a tight end until the end of the draft, almost, unless of course you're not going to pass on a value at a different round if it's there or whatever. But yeah, and then like with the rookies, definitely I think the wide receivers are starting to feel like the running backs that we're comfortable with as handcuffs have kind of moved out of that range a little bit. Like in my mind, like Roshan was a very comfy one in the 18th round. He's seemingly more like a 16th round now. It's just like these little things that are changing right now that are making it a little harder to enter the draft.
Yeah, anything comfy, you have maybe a week or two before it moves up into non-automatic territory again, which is good for diversification. It sucks for building teams that you feel good about not being dead spots. And we've covered this, that even stuff that feels really good, by week 4, Best Ball Resurrection, hits, and you're like, oh, they were all bad picks. Real quick, we're waiting. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just watching a Best Ball Breakfast from this morning, but Pete, I thought, had a great point where like if I like taking more of like the Isaac Tesla types, like when I have Goff, but not just throwing like a random rookie onto the end of a team just because it's like you just go mind blank and just go upside. It could be anything. Like I don't know.
Lots of downside.
Yeah, but if you have Goff, like go for it, but not just for no reason. Like try to find something more projectable to start.
Yeah, I'm coming around to the Tesla thing simply because we've seen the third guy have spike weeks in this offense multiple years, whether it's Khalif Raymond or Tim Patrick or Josh Reynolds. These guys just score so much and so consistently, and they're so matchup driven as an offense that, like just having a guy that can hit your the third or fourth guy on a really good offense is more likely to hit your lineup than the third or fourth guy on a really bad offense, and maybe even the second guy on a bad offense. So I think from that standpoint, plus the rookie, we don't know which rookies are going to be hitting. We just know several will, especially by the end of the season. So I think that's more viable than I first gave it credence to. And then real quick, since we do have Bindles on as our dynasty guy, I'm going to go ahead and give you top billing. So Curtis is asking 14-man, half PPR, quarter point tight end premium, start 10. He's got offered Laporta for DK and a third. He has Hawkinson, but didn't know if the value was good enough to take Laporta as well.
Yeah, this is a weird format because I usually play in 12-man, 0.5 tight end premium, full PPR. So it's a little bit different. I actually just had a really good conversation with Adam from BDGE in South Harmon about how like a Laporta is a little bit overvalued actually in terms of, you can't really like these guys like an Njoku or a Mark Andrews or whatever are pretty much just as live to finish as a top 6 tight end as one of these guys who are much more expensive. That being said, DK I just don't think projects to score very well this year. So if you have the receivers to fill in that spot and because you can't really project DK to score more than like 13 points a game this year. So as long as you have adequate receivers to fill in those flex spots, then I would probably just do it value-wise. And Laporta still holds value as well, just from a name brand as well. So you can probably flip them for something later. So yeah, I definitely do that. More being high on DK than being especially high in Laporta in that format. But yeah, I'll take Laporta.
Yeah, I think also just like we've seen the most boring of tight ends that just have like comfy name value. Njoku for years, you couldn't get for anything less than a first, even when he was not breaking out. So from the dynasty point of view, you're trying to just retain and build value. And DK, if he does like what we expect, a low pass volume offense with potentially bad receivers.
So he got offered Laporta.
Yeah, I think it's
I would try to keep your third. Seriously, DK Metcalf is like a 25, 26-year-old wide receiver, right? Like, I would try to keep your third. Your third can actually be a valuable pick. Like, for example, I saw Harold Fannin and possibly some other tight ends that might be elite in their career go in the third round of my dynasty drafts this year. So
Metcalf is 27. He'll turn 28 in December. Right. And this is his big contract, but it's just an offense that we just saw DK get like struggle with injury. And he's been someone that commands a good amount of targets, but he's also not the elite type of receiver we've seen and thought. So I think from just like who could gain more value, the young tight ends with name value, especially that have the resume of like, hey, they exploded. I kind of agree with Bindles that I don't mind going tight end.
I know I would just counter and just say I want to keep my third. Honestly, I just think your rookie picks. Have you guys seen the clip of the Baltimore GM talk about how he likes to draft? Like, and you can apply it to like dynasty too.
Yeah. Just take more shots on goal.
You want more shots. Like, just give me more chances at like the players. Like, So yeah, I've always kind of done that in dynasty where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll always throw on a couple extra fourths or whatever. But honestly, now the more I think about it, like this year's fourth round was pretty interesting. I mean, Savion Williams didn't even get drafted in our dynasty league.
No, he never gets drafted. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like Isaac Tesla, Savion Williams, Ty Felton, Taj Brooks. There was like a bunch of interesting names down there in the fourth round. I'm like, man, if you had a lot of these picks, like you have a lot of dart throws. Obviously, you can't field all these guys sometimes with how big.
Yeah, and this is what Steve is saying. Like 14-team league, tight end could be super thin, and therefore, from a value standpoint, you have a starting tight end on a good team. He pops for a nice stretch. You can flip him for a lot.
Wouldn't wide receivers be harder to acquire in a 14-team league? Like,
it's probably one where like he said he's got JSN, Hunter Higgins, Downs. Like, it's probably one where a lot of dudes hit volume. And I'm just thinking of, I think you're more likely to get a first plus this year or next year for Laporta than you are for DK, and that's just it. I'm looking at it as just like purely just a store of value.
I'm wondering if DK's value is at like a very low point right now. If they bring over, I've been doing this in best ball drafts where like as soon as they sign Kirk or Rodgers, like DK's value is going to go up pretty quick.
I don't think DK's value goes up unless Pickens gets traded, and even then, like how much higher does he go? I think the value is low until
I think it'll go up enough to save you that third. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe.
But yeah,
it's
definitely not a bad trade.
Well, that's the thing. I think anytime someone's trying to move someone, because like when I did Dynasty and even like in redraft stuff, me having very quality depth is not a bad thing unless I'm upgrading like the tier of superstar. I'm not trying to give away my depth because injuries happen and then you don't want to be fucked. Especially in like formats that reward types of things. But anyway, we are on the clock coming up in 1 at the 9 spot. Curious to see where we're going to want to lean. I think I have early leans here, but I'm trying to be pretty fluid. We've got Genty falling to us. We've got Amon-Ra, Nico. What say you guys?
I like Genty or Nico.
I like wide receiver.
You want to go Nico?
I like Nico or Amon-Ra. Either one is fun. You can go Amon-Ra if you.
I like both guys. Let me lean to Amon-Ra. I think for structural reasons, I don't mind Amon-Ra. We'll see what the room does. I see some, we've got some badges. I see familiar names, so can constructually for flexibility. I like Genty. Listening to Pete and Leone on Best Ball Breakfast, I was interested to hear that they were higher on Amon-Ra and lower on Genty. So I guess we're just and like Genty's volume and upside is very strong, but we know that there's strong pockets of running backs in the second, the third, and even the fifth round right now. And Amon-Ra has just been like really, really consistent and really strong.
That's the difference. Like the difference between Kyron Williams versus Genty versus Amon-Ra versus Mike
Calvin
Evans.
Ridley or something.
Something you can't really even touch. I think I'm gonna have a low amount of Genty, honestly. It's hard to get to him.
I think also like Amon-Ra demonstrated a secondary ceiling that we kind of capped him at. Like he finally got unleashed in like red zone and green zone usage. It was kind of an internal promotion. So, from what works, you lean on what works really well. And contingent, much like San Francisco, any of these guys miss time. The other one boosts up. I'm happily taking CMC here, as we said, no to Genty, though.
Love it. Yeah. I'm good.
At 16, a little bit of value, and seemingly he's healthy. It's all good news. The volume alone is going to be strong enough to be a second-round pick, seemingly. And
if you get any positive news, this is like one of the only, or not one of the only, but one of the ways you take advantage of drafting May 5th and BBM is like CMC could be the 109.
He'll flip
or whatever.
He'll flip Brian Thomas or Neighbors in the first round by the end of drafting summer with lots of good news. I have my concerns that he's aged, the soft tissue and the tendonitis have been there. That he wasn't nearly as explosive, and also non-CMC. San Francisco did not do a lot to address the O-line thinness and injuries, and we've seen that when Trent Williams and others miss time, it can be really, really rough for the offense, especially for CMC. All that said, though, his pass game work should still be very strong, and we've seen them kind of like churn in camp for like depth guys to make it work. So you just got to hope that if they're in a Super Bowl window, they'll make a trade for a guy if Trent misses a lot of time or anything like that. But all the news I've seen on CMC, the latest that I saw that was shared by, I believe, Jeff Mueller, was that Kittle had a podcast where he talked about that he had like the similar type of tendonitis in his Achilles that CMC had a few years ago, got the similar stem cell treatment, and he's been awesome since. Obviously, he was younger when he got it than CMC was, but seemingly that was the treatment CMC got and was mostly working well for him to like come back and play before he gets hurt with another non-Achilles injury. So seemingly with all this rest and the power of science and stem cells, CMC may be back to being a very solid pick. I haven't taken a ton of him because the news was kind of iffy. So I think right now is a great time to load up on him because like how much different is the bet than Achane for like, hey, if the O-line's not very good and the offense is very good, but he's going to get 70, 80 passes, doesn't matter. And we saw the answer for Achane at least was no, not really, because he wasn't that efficient. He wasn't that explosive. And he was still, scoring 20 plus PPR points a week as a PPR scam. So I'm coming around to, especially after like this stretch of wide receivers feels more than fine.
Yeah, he's a good bet now as we're getting the news. So we'll see.
Yeah, they don't add any. They add Jordan James, but they don't add any receivers in the draft. I just think he's like going to be getting 80, 90 targets, like you said.
And thank you, Fully Loaded, for the gifted membership. Whoever got that, let's see who got that. Not sure who got it. Whoever did get it, jump in the Discord. Come get our ranks. Come get our Dynasty ranks, redraft ranks, best ball ranks. A lot of great channels in there to talk ball. Really good stuff. And yeah, I think this is the thing with running back and with tight end is like whoever gets the most touchdowns is usually going to score the most. And I like the Raiders. I like Genty. But it is hard to say that like he will definitely have a better year than every single other running back at a, first round price. Whereas the receivers usually separate pretty well.
I'm cool
I know
I'm
a
know
big
you want
Adams
Adam.
guy,
No,
but
I'm down.
I've got two lovely guests on tap, so I don't have to auto tap Adams if
I want
I
Adams.
want Adams. Let's do it.
Praise be for the guy that just refuses to age.
A grown ass man in the third round.
Yeah.
Also, Pat, going back to the DK thing, there's a lot of wide receivers that I feel like are shrug wide receivers.
I feel like after pretty much these guys, it's like Zay Flowers, maybe. There's not a ton of guys after those guys where I'm like, oh my God, I love these wide receivers. It's like, I need a wide receiver.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It feels like that with a lot of like the wide receivers feel absolutely atrocious after like 120. It's pretty bad.
Well, this is pretty sweet right here. I love what we're looking at option wise. What are you guys thinking? Well, I guess we'll see what falls, but if they're both there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess you got to keep letting DJ Moore fall.
I'd also say Devonta Smith is totally fine if you want a wide receiver 3. I think he's like an underrated 4th round wide receiver.
I think that's fair, but I think constructually these running backs are pretty solid, and I have a hard time passing. And now this is where it's tough. The heart wants a Marion. The brain says
Hampton CMC sounds fine, but Brees CMC is, oh my God, like 2
Let's go Hampton. Let's go Hampton. I
do it. Yeah.
Thank you, Bindles. Let's get some mother effing youth in this running back room. Because here's the thing. I know it's Brees, but I don't want to get tied to name value. And what we saw from Brees was he looked pretty poor rushing, pretty poor receiving, and even when you adjust for like the O-line, like Braylon also wasn't very good, but he was worse than Brees. So he
was good at receiving. He was bad rushing.
It wasn't as good as his peak time. And I think Rodgers unequivocally a better quarterback for Brees than Fields. I have like new staff. They've already talked about, and this is part of why he's available in the 4th. They've talked about running back committee, changing up who's getting what. So like this, the GM and the head coach both knew. So they are not tied to Brees for like, hey, he's not doing very well, but stick with him. They don't have to do that.
He's going to be doing better than Braylon Allen. Like people need to understand that this is not going to be a competition.
I don't think the staff has any reason not to bring in new guys to make it work. Like we've seen guys get brought in to be success rate. Kansas City, partly because of Pacheco, but partly because they didn't have anybody on the staff in the running back room that they were like, let's give him the ball. He's going to pick up what he's going to pick up and keep us on track. We see that with times. Brees has been a boomer bust type of running back, and that's frustrated, previous staffs. So I'm just saying there's fragility with like the new staff, the new comments. The addition of Mimbo is awesome, but like they don't have to give him all the work. If he gets into a timeshare where he's like 60-40, I mean, we're talking about expensive, fancy Jalen Warren at that point because the offense isn't going to be that good. The projected wins are pretty poor. We don't expect Fields to like lead a very super efficient, high scoring offense. But when I look at the Chargers, I look at a team that proved they can be high pass rate. They can have a much better O-line, much better receivers, a much better quarterback. And Hampton was mentioned as a 4-down player. You figure out what the 4th down is. I'm not sure. But Harbaugh talked very highly about Hampton and the pass protection, pass receiving role. And he's so freaking explosive that if Najee misses any time or Hampton just takes the work in totality, Hampton can just be what Brees was his.
No, I'm cool with the Hampton.
Super hyper efficient.
I'm cool with the Hampton pick. If we didn't have CMC though, would you lean Brees over Hampton? If we didn't have, CMC
I think I don't want to take 2 fragile PPR scam backs.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I do think I think it's prudent to have some like. Hampton was so stupid athletic. His profile is incredibly explosive, and
the big. Chargers.
And his O-line is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And we saw the husk of J.K. Dobbins have like he was like RB6 for like 5-6 weeks just on breakaway runs, and he couldn't outrun people, but he managed to. What happens if the most athletic running back in the draft gets these touches like that? That's where it's just like these home run hits can go off. And if he's the goal line back over Najee because he's got the size and he's just more explosive, awesome. I expect Najee to be a thorn and a pain in the ass, but he's a 1-year contract guy, and they can just treat him like Gus Edwards, where it's like, we'll use you when we want to, but we don't need to.
Yeah, I hear you. This is an interesting spot. Because
I hate this range of the draft.
Well, in my opinion, like I've been kind of a running back, bro. Like I take so many running backs.
I like these running backs.
I like them, but that's where we fall behind. I'm just saying,
they're the
like,
best. They're the
temptation's
best
strong.
picks, though. Like by far the best picks.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like goodness gracious. Maybe we could take one of these wide receivers, but then we have to take one of these running backs.
I think Chuba as like the version, like the Brees arbitrage.
What about Kenneth Walker? Is there any validity to him getting traded to a better team and just being the guy? Because I've been taking him.
I think
I like Walker just fine, but from an ADP standpoint, I think if we're gonna pass on Brees as the volume thing, Chuba was just as good. I don't know.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And some of the RV,
I'm not doing
RV
a little
yet.
expensive. I'm not doing it.
You guys don't like fun?
We're mixing matching. We're mixing fun with prudentness.
I already spent like $800 on fun in the big board, so I don't need to buy anymore. Now the fun's gotten too expensive.
I think the Carolina backfield is pretty reasonable to capture a majority of the work. I'm not the biggest Chuba bull, but the smart people are in on, like, he's probably going to see a lot of the work. But like, how much different is he than Harvey, Walker, Trey? Like, they're all very similar bets, and at least Chuba has shown the ability.
Kamara, Judkins, I kind of have all these guys in that same tier.
I like
Judkins
Walker
is the last one of the tier for me.
I like Walker plenty because he might see the most passes his way he's ever seen, because that's how this, like, the Clint Kubiak offense just like peppers running backs with targets.
Yeah.
So it's very live, but if they choose to split that roll up with Charbonnet again, he loses some of the value.
Dude,
so I think all these guys are similar bets, but at least Chuba has shown, his coaching staff has stayed the same, and he seems like the strongest bet to lead that backfield.
I think we're gonna look back and really like this team, honestly.
I don't mind building more robust early on, considering what we kind of said at the top, where like the running backs are pretty ugly.
Rome Odunze here is like, can we just, because the only narrative right now is that that Ben Johnson hates his current players. I think it's a really dumb narrative.
My pushback is that it sounds like he and DJ Moore are both continuing to fall, so I don't want to stop the fall. Catching
Olave.
We're taking Olave over Godwin.
No, we can take Godwin.
Quarterback. Take Godwin.
Yeah, I don't
take Godwin.
Okay.
I think I take Godwin on this team too, with only having 2 so far.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the volume.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel that. Yeah. Give me Godwin over Olave.
I'm buying Godwin all the way down because, like, seemingly he's on track to start week 1. I think by midseason he'll look pretty close to his old self, and they just do not seem like it was an internal promotion. So the team just does not want to move Godwin out of the slot. They've moved everybody else around. They have not moved Godwin out of the slot. As long as Godwin has the slot, he's going to have the easiest, best, most valuable targets in this offense. And that'll also help with any sort of like physical decline he has coming back at 30 out from this injury. So I will continue to buy Godwin until I can't, because I think I want to play this offense through. I think Evans should get a little bit cheaper, and then I want him. I just want everybody that's honestly not McMillan in this offense. And so that's what I'm just buying in, because we know that they can pass efficiency, pass volume can all be high enough. We also saw like Godwin has multiple seasons of stretches outside of injury where he is like wide receiver 1, between the number 1 overall scoring and the number 6 overall, multiple seasons. So I'm willing to buy in at that price. If you're going to give me him in, the 6th, 7th round, because of a first round rookie who I like a lot and I want to buy more of. I just don't know where his price is going to settle, so I'm trying to avoid him right now.
Well, I think all 3 of the guys we just had a choice on could all easily rise back up. Honestly, I could see all 3 of those guys.
I agree, but I think Godwin rises the highest out of all those guys. No,
healthy Godwin report has him in the 4th round probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think building robust. I'd rather target the guys that are getting adjusted right now because of ranks, but the market will price up higher. So like by July, I expect Evans to be like 4th, 5th. I expect Godwin to be 4th, 5th. We've seen them kind of be like that in previous market years. And then Egbuka to be around like between 90 and 110. And then McMillan to be between like 140 and 160. And at that point, I want to start hammering the pockets.
Hammer the pocket, baby. That's funny. Copy paste dates though. That was my first thought of when when Tyler was talking about even if he misses the start of the season or whatever, I was like, do we just grab Ibuka to just lock up the?
Well, I mean, like Ibuka could easily. We just saw McMillan, a 3rd round pick, do this where like anybody misses time. Lest we forget that McMillan missed 3 touchdowns to start weeks 1 through 3, and it was maddening. Like they hit his hands, and he just could not catch them. So it's like we know there's the wide receiver 3 in this offense can eat and can hit lineups. What happens when the 1st round talent, like I think Ibuka's ceiling is that he takes the wide receiver 3 role by week 1 or week 5, and then he's just doing more with less. Like he gets 4 or 5 touches a game, and he's doing pretty well because he looks really talented, really athletic, Amon-Ra-esque, a Godwin clone, and Godwin was extremely efficient on low volume. So like from a best ball perspective, I like Ibuka, and if any of those guys miss time, Ibuka can play out wide or on the slot, and I think he could probably be better out wide than McMillan was, who was really struggling out wide until the last few weeks of the season. So, touchdowns win weeks, and the Bucs offense is going to score a lot of touchdowns, even if they score less than they did last year. So I don't mind buying the cheaper pieces and also younger pieces. No offense to Evans. I love Evans. I'll have plenty of Evans. But like Godwin's only 30 and Ibuka is young and exciting.
This is a tough spot right here.
Yeah,
there's kind of like, Shakir goes, and then I think you take Hawkinson because I was gonna say I saw you had him ranked at 99, but I would take Ayuk here, honestly.
Well, he stacks with Christian McCaffrey, and there's
exactly, and you can see both of them coming down.
Recent news is that he might start week 1.
Yeah,
so,
what's his name? Jeff Mueller has been putting out that he's looking better than people I think are thinking right now. So
I love that's news to my ears.
Yeah, I thought Ayuk would, so I ranked him lower because I thought he would truly fall. And he just never really has. He's fallen out of where he was going, which I think was egregious. Right now, the FUD about sometime mid-season is probably wrong. I think worst case scenario, 95% of the time, he's on PUP and he's starting week 5. But if he's potentially gonna start week 1 or week 2, then his ramp up starts sooner, and then I'm willing to say, okay, I think he could easily out alpha Rizzy in this offense. And the same thoughts I have for buying Jennings, target volume, deep passing philosophy, that also benefits Ayuk and team correlation. So I think also if he is healthy, he's going to rise 2 rounds minimum, probably above Jennings by end of the year. So from a CLV standpoint, I don't know how many of these versions of your team you're going to get in the next few months. And I want to buy on health news that I was flooding given lack of information.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, good point.
Do we do Baker, stack it up?
Or Ibuka first?
He's gone.
Oh, he went.
Ibuka went.
Shit.
Yeah, Downs is the other option to me. We can't take a 4th running back.
I like Downs or Baker. How do you guys lean here?
I kind of want to push QB if you guys are comfortable with Goff.
Let's do that.
I lean push QB.
Yeah, because we want Purdy, that's for sure.
Downs is very
Goff too.
Yeah.
And I'm getting more. It just seems like there's a little bit more people at least talking about it. That it sounds like Danny Dimes could just be like the full go starter. Like
who are these people? They sound smart, handsome, and big and bulge.
Was that you?
I have been preaching the Dimes thing since February.
You say a lot. I get confused. I've taken too much content. But yeah. No, I mean, just more and more people talking about it, and usually the market is kind of ahead of these things, but no one wants to commit to it yet. But yeah, I'm willing to commit to Danny Dimes just starting week 1. Downs gets instantly huge boost on that news.
Clip it. BBG takes in a lot.
So so 2 things you said there. One is that I don't think the market is truly adjusted enough until now. I think in this morning's BBM and Best Ball Breakfast, I think AR went 18th round to Hayden and Pete's team. So I think the market has now finally realized, he might not start more than half the season, and we don't know who's going to start week 17. That said, what I have been preaching this entire time is Downs is a more competent passer and more consistent. Not good, but AR as a passer has also been not good. And every single one of these receivers with a better passer, whether it's Flacco or Minshew, has been really solid at ADP. Downs has been by far the most strong in target share, targets per outrun, yards per outrun, and expected fantasy points. So, this is probably like Downs. I'm willing to buy at any and all price because he's like the ultimate best ball pick where even with dog shit passing, he can explode, but he's supremely high upside with competent to good passing. And we've seen Dimes be good enough on intermediate to short stuff that Downs needed to help his floor. Do we want to try to push?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm willing to do it for Fields if you are.
Yeah, we have coverage. Lamar and Allen. I think we can push Goff.
They don't have Laporta or anything in between us.
So either we double stack the Indy thing, or we grab Bo or Justin to like do some back stacking, or we take Herbert with the Hampton. What do y'all want to do?
I don't want double Indy. I'd be Fields.
I think I'd go Fields too.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Jacob, I had Jacob on last week, and he was actually bullish on irregardless of the Daniel Jones thing. He actually said that Warren going there was good for Downs. I don't remember his exact reasoning, but I think he was basically like it's gonna Warren will be in line more, and it'll actually free up Downs to be in the slot and get more middle of the target. So I don't know. That's Jacob Sanderson's take, not mine, but I trust him generally, especially regarding the Colts. So,
well, if Dimes was able to pepper Wandale with 8 fucking targets a game short, and Wandale do nothing with that, I feel very good about you. Give me Downs with 7+ targets a game, and
dude, he's cooking.
He's a wide receiver
6.5 targets. Let's go. That's what we need. Keon Coleman's been rising. Been noticing that. Anyways, we're hoping to get Goff.
The people are low on Jennings, Harry. So just bank his awesome run out and then trade him, or hold on to him because he's out providing value. All right, Goff, smash,
easy.
All right, so through 10 rounds, the chat was like, "Oh my God, you're building robust. What are you doing?" And 2-3-5-0 build: Justin Fields, Jared Goff at quarterback, running back CMC, Omarion Hampton, and Chuba. Very cromulent, very potentially sexy running back room from volume, efficiency, and role. Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, and Josh Downs at our receiver. I think we've got solid floor and ceiling with Brown and Adams, and if Adams stays healthy, which he's been incredibly healthy his entire career, we know that his floor is very safe with competent quarterback, and there may not be a more fantasy friendly quarterback still playing right now than Matthew Stafford, who famously fed Cooper Kupp a shitload of targets. Godwin, if he's on track to start week 1, same thing with Ayuk. Both these guys have shown really elite ceilings, which in best ball, it's really all we want, especially when we're catching a receiver. And then Downs, whose floor may be improving if Dimes was able to start more games this season, or at least start early on, which I expect. And even with AR, Downs was seeing games where he was scoring, double-digit fantasy points just because of long touchdowns and long passes. So I feel really good about this 9-spot draft so far.
Yeah, this is sexy.
Yep.
And we'll probably, and this is where it's tough. If we knew what the bye weeks were,
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. If we knew what the bye weeks were, I'd be okay rolling with Fields, Goff. But because we don't know what the bye weeks are,
we don't need to force it, and we have a couple late guys that go with this team. Stafford or even Bryce with Chuba to some degree. Chuba doesn't really catch passes, but we can find a late Panther tight end or receiver with that as well. But we don't need to force it. I don't think. I think that's one thing that people maybe pulled over from big board season is always forcing 3 quarterbacks. Even if they don't have a stack, just making a stack happen. Not 100% necessary with Fields and Goff. I can see Fields being the quarterback 7 or 8 on the year, and
I think Goff is
paying off.
Goff is our. I mean, and I like he's been falling in all the drafts I've been doing to this back end, mid to back end, 10 round 10 range. I think people are realizing, hey, there's probably some touchdown regression coming to this offense, but if they regress to more pass heavy than run heavy, I think that buoys and benefits Goff plenty. But as far as floor and ceiling, Goff has been a very solid investment at quarterback, and then Fields is obviously our ceiling quarterback. He's had a shaky floor, and I expect it to continue to stay shaky as long as he's only got 2 viable targets in the offense with Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor. You hope Breece Hall is that, but I think with that you settle for the ceiling and you're fine with the floor at cost, given how we've kind of built the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have the chance to do the funniest thing, gentlemen.
No. Come on.
Hey, we're saying this backfield's high value, and you're going to give us cheap Najee?
Oh my god.
I mean,
damn it! I really wanted Mims. That would have been nice.
I kind of want Njoku or Warren.
God, do we have to take Najee?
I don't think we have.
We don't have to do anything, but
we could take him and end at 5 and just do the funniest thing.
I mean,
I'm cool with Njoku or Warren or Kincaid.
Let's get our tight end and figure it out. I think Njoku's ceiling is Flacco starts a bunch of games and it's awesome. And his ceiling is also any quarterback not named Deshaun Watson he's cooked with. I know he got his lowest ADOT that he saw last year, but that just means easier completions and targets. And with his athletic profile, Yak is always key. So I'm buying Njoku as he falls just because he's proven to be a really solid target earner. And we've seen Flacco just absolutely king make random guys. And I feel the most confident that Njoku is very talented on this offense. Jerry Jeudy feels like fool's gold every year. Tillman is exciting but unproven. And they didn't add any other weapons I feel really scared about. No offense to the third round Harold fan and Slappies.
Yeah, I feel like he's. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Bindles, please.
I was going to say, I feel like he should go where Andrews goes. Just you don't know who to stack with, so I feel like he's just getting pushed down. But
do we just take Warren and make our double stack for Indy, or do we take Ramondre?
Yeah,
McMillan. We have Bucks.
I think McMillan's going to keep falling, so I don't want to pull him up.
I probably like Warren here.
We got Downs. Hey, if we need, and if we could talk ourselves into Danny Dimes, because
I already have.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Perfect.
Well, I mean, at this point, I'd say that if we only go 2 tight end, which I'd prefer to do to add some more volume at receiver and potentially give ourselves an out for a third quarterback. Warren wasn't the best prospect ever, and it's not the best landing spot ever. But he was still a first-round top 12 added tight end. He still had a really, really awesome, final year of production. He has really interesting usage and versatility. A team like Indy is at least going to think about using him in interesting ways, especially if they get more competent quarterback play. And again, with the low ADOT thing, Warren can see the pass volume can increase under Dimes. We've kind of already bought into that with Downs at pick 88. And if that's the case, I think that's viable for every pass catcher in this offense. And we know that tight end can just hit with a good amount of volume and efficiency. And what if Warren does what Kincaid does his rookie year, which is nothing exciting volume and efficiency wise, but enough to make him viable. And this is about where Kincaid was going, if I recall correctly anyway. So I don't mind just saying we're not sure how good this offense can be, and if it skews more pass heavy or just the pieces are more efficient, we could get a Daniel Jones scam season and benefit.
Yeah, I mean, when he was going pick 100, 105, I think that was way too high personally. But this is a really good cost on him, I think, for the upside of
likely going over Warren seems way too cute. We know likely is he's arbitrage, like Andrews is their power slot, but also moves in line, and he's also their guy they trust for their weird handoff to tight end 4th down calls. Likely ceiling is capped as long as Andrews is healthy or there, and also the Baltimore offense. There was no offense that had more passing touchdowns over expected or more passing volume, any sort of regression. And that hits likely first and foremost because Flowers and Bateman and Andrews are the stronger target earners in that offense. So I'm going to call me crazy. I'm going to take the tight end 1 over the tight end 2 any day of the week because volume is king. And if the volume skews, I mean, we did this with the Chargers last year. We said they're going to run 1 million times. They're never going to pass. And then the 6 weeks that they did pass a lot, we went, oh shit, this offense can cook. So what happens when the Colts don't have to pass, 17 times a game because their quarterback can't complete more than 50% of passes? Also, thank you, Fantasy Dog, for gifting a membership. The chat is aroused, I think, at this team.
Press the button.
What was that a picture of?
Which one?
Tiger
the dog?
uppercut.
Oh, it's like
it's a boxer doing an
Oh,
uppercut.
okay.
It might be a Street Fighter guy. Not totally sure.
Dude, Street Fighter. Missed that game.
Let's see. All right. Coming up on the clock.
Yeah, dude, Stafford go. I know that's maybe one of our quarterbacks.
Stafford's still on the board.
Still there. We can push him.
PPR time would take Michael Penix here.
We add the quarterback that was promised.
I think we got to think about a receiver here. But yeah, the guys I mean, man, we got to do something. But Josh Palmer or like Jalen Tolbert for me, or Thielen, honestly.
QJ stacks with Hampton.
Yeah, I'm worried about him, but that's okay.
I don't mind Dobbs.
Yeah,
Dobbs. I'm Dobbs over these guys.
Sure, I'll go Dobbs over these guys. I'm fine with that. These guys are all like, if you told me Adam Thielen or outscored all of them, I wouldn't be surprised. If Jalen Tolbert outscored all of them, wouldn't be surprised. If Dobbs did, it wouldn't be surprised.
Do you guys think there's any smoke for Amari Cooper returning to Dallas?
If it was going to happen, it would have already happened. They have nobody on the team. And even if they do, Tolbert sucked. Like, he really sucked last year. I think I was fine with him in the last 2 rounds, but in the 14th round, I'm not taking a guy who in his breakout season had dog shit efficiency.
You want to do Braylon Allen here? Stacks with Fields and
we
directly didn't take Breece Hall.
Well, Braylon's been falling to like the 190s in some drafts, so I don't want to buy him at cost.
Has he?
I think we double tap receiver, or we could grab like Eckler.
I've been taking Eckler too. I'm cool with Eckler. He's kind of old for this running back room, but I don't hate it.
Let's go Eckler. Yeah.
My finger failed us.
QJ is what we needed.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're just taking stabs on an offense that we already took a stab on. I don't think Trey Harris displaces QJ. He's taking up Josh Palmer's roles.
Yeah,
and fine. Did QJ score touchdowns over expected? Sure. Could he do it again randomly as leverage off of Trey Harris and Ladd, who we don't have on his team? Sure. As a wide receiver 7, is he the worst guy in the world? If I want to chase good offenses, I want to chase upside at touchdowns. He's displayed both of those things. And if Trey Harris is as good as he is, then that just means QJ has one more player he can scam touchdowns away from because no one's covering him because he's getting schemed up against linebackers as Trey Harris and Ladd run real boy routes against cornerbacks. And I think our running back room is strong enough that we could take 2 shots at receiver there. And I just think, Palmer's also been just a guy. And he's never really been a guy that's earned much volume outside the 1 year that he filled in when Keenan Allen and Michael Williams missed time. The Buffalo Bills just signed Elijah Moore, so I feel very strongly that all these guys are going to rotate on the Bills, and Dobbs and QJ at least have, I think, better chances at like full time to like 70% plus snap and route shares. Dobbs especially is a guy that's the only Green Bay receiver who's run 80% of routes year over year.
I just hate how they brought back Mike Williams and then drafted Trey Harris. So they're definitely looking for a type. Like they're looking for what they wanted QJ to be, I feel like.
I don't agree. Mike Williams' depth, who knows it? Like Mike Williams was just, we're not bringing back Keenan, we're bringing back Mike. Like I really think that's all that Mike Williams was. Mike Williams had a 1.1 yards.
Which just shows me that they're looking for a jump ball kind of guy. Like that's kind of what Trey Harris is, like one of these big like jump ball kind of guys. That's kind of what QJ was supposed to be, but he's not. He's like a weird, just big yards after catch kind of guy.
And that's okay.
It's fine. Yeah,
it's fine.
It is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, in the 14th round, I think it's fine. I'm not betting on 32-year-old Mike Williams off an ACL to
No, I'm not saying that those guys are like more draftable or anything, but it does worry me.
I mean, and as some people mentioned, I think it was Tiger Uppercut specifically, like QJ and Romeo are early season like coverage. I think the vets are easy. Like the vets usually start hotter than the rookies.
No, that's fair. Yeah, if we're just trying to get Ayuk and Godwin there to the dance, I don't mind it at all. Let's go. Chargers, easy starting schedule.
As far as like volume and shots on goal for touchdown spikes, like these two have both done it and annoyed everybody doing it. So,
yep. All right. Mason Taylor's a stack. If we want a third tight end, just gonna throw it out there. Roshan is one of my favorite.
We only go like 4 running backs though, because we're running out of spots.
Yeah. Okay. So Roshan is one of my favorite.
Yeah, I like Roshan here.
If he doesn't go, I'm okay with Roshan.
Okay.
Roshan's likely to keep rising a little bit with any sort of news. A little bit of
just no
correlation.
Reason not to.
Yeah. I think pretty good ambiguous running back room. Ryan Poles, the GM of the Bears, said openly, we don't know where these guys sit on the depth chart right now for the running backs. We're going into OTAs, we're going into camp, and Ben Johnson will evaluate them then, and we'll go from there. And we have a short list of guys we can add, but we're not in a rush. So I mean that's as good an ambiguity as you can buy into outside the top 14 rounds.
No, he's a really good pick, I think, right now.
Good note from James. And our favorite positional wide receiver ranks: wide receiver 45 and wide receiver 39 in fantasy points per game. Now he's being drafted as wide receiver 65, just because of redshirt senior and Mike Williams. Yeah, I think he and Dobbs both stand out as guys the market double counted too many negatives to, and when projections come out and start to fine tune, I believe they'll rise just because, they're like, hey, they're starters, they're starting roles, and they're not displaced yet. They'll rise at least 2-3 rounds. Dobbs was being overdrafted last year in like the 9th and 8th round. I wasn't buying him there, but at this point, it's just a guy who's randomly caught 2 touchdowns, one of the big body guys that runs all the routes on a good offense. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. All right, what do we want here?
Yeah, that's the question.
We're on the clock, Tyler. We don't want that third tight end.
If we do that, we're sacrificing a wide receiver, and
I think we go wide receiver. I'm fine with these 2 tight ends.
Yeah. Slayton feels like the best one of the two. Or Tesla with Goff, if you want to do that.
No, I think Slayton's fine.
It's totally fine. He's
another volume.
I think it's a downright good pick with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart back there.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem with Slayton last year was that he wasn't very, very good, but he was also phased out by the end of the year. He got a 3-year extension. I don't think they can afford to phase him out. I would
mind saying he was good last year for best ball. I think he was good. Like at the price you paid for him, like he hit your lineup like 3 times with 20.
Right. You would have liked him to keep hitting it late for him to be a really good pick. So, and that's the thing. It's more early season coverage. I think with Russ, who is just allergic to the middle of the field, it's very good.
Dude, moonballs to Slayton. I can
exactly like moonballs to Slayton and Neighbors. Slayton's been a guy who he's Mike Williams B-, and then
it opens up Jackson Dart,
and it opens up exactly. who I think is a more fun click than Daniel Jones.
I was going to say we might actually
we have more invested in Indy than we do. We have more invested in Indy than we do.
Way more in Indy.
Giants?
Way more in Indy.
Yeah, way more.
And I also think Dimes is probably a better bet to start more games this season, given our thesis, than Dart is. Even if I think
he is. I think he is too. I would say that. It's not. It pains me to say, but I do.
Is Dimes and what's his name? Richardson, the Russ and Fields from last year though, because.
Yes, except the staff doesn't want one of them to definitely start before he hurts his calf. That's the difference.
But do we think that Justin Fields would have took that job last year at some point?
No, we saw him get game managed and then phased out the second Russ was healthy enough to play on his calf.
All right.
Like he got yoinked despite being fine. Like that tells us he was, they wanted, and they said that. They said Russ is in the pole position. And then Russ at 35, 36 pulled his calf, and that's bad. What's up, Mountain Man? with a review from the Accountant 2. Not bad for a sequel.
That sounds like most movies these days. It's like, it was fine.
I think.
Yeah, and
So
then a
this is the
running
question.
back.
Do we think the Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, or the elite quarterback teams are live to take one of these guys?
We don't need Coker, right?
We don't care. We have coverage. So who do we want at running back? Do we want Ford for free with an ambiguous backfield?
We do have Njoku. I don't mind that.
Who?
Ford for free when we have Njoku is not that.
Yeah, I think
bad.
Ford is getting killed prematurely. My thesis on this
classic
is that
market knowing Ball, but we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and so that I don't get. They're like, oh, Dylan Sampson kills Jerome Ford. Okay, he's a 4th round running back who had like his breakout score was poor. He wasn't super efficient. He's like Judkins but worse. And much like Judkins, he wasn't much of a pass catcher. So we know this offense has always had a pass catcher role. If Flacco starts a bunch of games, that pass catcher role is going to be pretty good scam for fantasy just with targets. We know that they're going to run the ball a lot. And I don't need Ford to run a lot of routes, but run a lot, but he will run a lot of routes most likely and be more than cromulent doing it. His reworked contract means that Chubb is definitely not coming back, and they're settling for Ford. So now a 4th round Sampson has to outplay Ford for the trusted third back role, and I don't buy that right now.
Yeah, he's 20 years old. Yeah, I don't see that happening either.
He reworks his contract, and it's also still the same head coach. So he's like, still has the same playbook, like, already.
Jerome Ford is a better bet than Elijah Mitchell and Nick Chubb and Estime right now. Like, that's just a fact. Just based on history.
I don't know about Estime. I like Estime.
I'm talking about from like risk of being a 0, I think.
I don't think there's a risk of Estime being a 0. I think he easily separates himself as something.
He was benched in the playoffs. I think he's a very big risk for 0. So we're both. Are we all Daniel Jones over Jackson Dart?
No, I think I'm Dart to avoid not knowing, but I'm fine with it. I don't know.
What you're the tiebreaker, Emo. I lean Jones, but we can go Dart. We're smoking darts on the balcony.
I like that thought process. I think if I'm going to lean one way, the stacks lean me to Indianapolis. But as you just said, if we're talking about who's more likely to start more games, it's Danny Dimes. Do I need games with Fields and Goff? I don't think so. Do I need who is more likely to be?
He's got rushing upside too, which is fun. Yeah.
Well, so like who's more live week 17 to start? It's Dart. We all agree on that.
They traded back into the 1st round. This guy's playing by the end of the year.
Yeah, so I think just that alone, I would take him naked. Most like if we had no Giants, I think it's like, hey, we did Indy, but now we don't have to choose because I think it's just as likely that they yank both Dimes and AR multiple times, which makes them frustrating for fantasy. And if they just start using AR like Taysom, it's frustrating for fantasy for Dimes. So I think we can avoid both of those things by just saying, we'll take the 1st round rookie, and we know he's going to play at least a game, hopefully multiple games. His rushing upside is really nice. His passing profile can be real boom bust. I think he's like arbitrage Cam Ward in a way.
Yeah, I just know he's playing at the end of the year. Just because they traded back, if they would left that pick alone and maybe just kind of like he fell into them, their 2nd round pick or something, I might feel a little bit different about it. And then the only out to him not playing at the end of this year after they spent the capital to trade back into the 1st to get him would be Russ is somehow leading them to a winning season. So if you can fade that narrative, I think you're safe with Dart at the end of the year for sure.
I can fade that narrative.
Yeah, I think Vegas has him at 4.5, and that's like minus money, win total. So.
Also, Dart has such a high scrambling rate that like we saw that with Jaden Daniels of like it can break fantasy much like that. And that's the thing. Dimes just wasn't the same rusher after his MCL. I think there's a chance he's pretty solid, but I think with Fields and Goff, we had enough to say let's shoot for the fantasy playoffs upside of Dart versus and Dimes hasn't been like the healthiest guy either, just because like much like AR, he does not know how to like protect his body in the pocket or outside the pocket. So at least from that standpoint, Russ is so old that he could tweak something in camp like he did last year and Dart wins out. But yeah, I just think this, if we would have pushed quarterback later, I think we had to go for the more games played, but I think we had enough coverage to go for the higher swing for the finals. Because there's nothing worse than having a quarterback you take for your bye week cover. And that's the thing, is like bye week coverage, we don't know. I think Dart's just as live to start week 6 on as he is to start, like definitely start the playoffs. So it's like I'm okay saying as long as the bye week's not week 5, and these guys overlap, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
And week 17, throwing a week Malik Neighbors plus rushing. Pretty fun.
So just to wrap up for the audio listeners, all 2 of them, and we love you very dearly. 3-5-8-2 build: Fields, Goff, Jackson Dart at quarterback, running back CMC, Omarion Hampton, Shuba Hubbard, Roshan Johnson, and Jerome Ford, who I think even has outs to be now on his new reworked contract. It's even more tradable. But I think he's probably the favorite for the RB2 right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Josh Downs, Romeo Dobbs, Quentin Johnston, and Darius Slayton at receiver. We would have loved to get some rookies, but this room said no. You get the cheap, dusty vets, and we said okay. Tight end David Njoku and Tyler Warren. And because it seemed like we hit our like goal, I guess we'll get the second draft up and running. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's a very solid team. We got some stacks. I think it's what it would be plus-ish. I feel like it's pretty solid.
Yeah, we would have loved more than 2 rookies, but or 3, I guess, with Dart. But also, like, I think you got to play your room and play to win. And I think we balance all those things. So we're jumping into 30-second puppy, filling fast. You sickos just could not. We sat there in BBM waiting and waiting and waiting. The puppy has now filled. So everybody, welcome in. We have the 2, pick 2, sick.
Ooh.
All right.
Turd Ferguson at the 12 spot.
And then we've got Fantasy Dog and yeah. Oh. Let's see. All right, I got to name drafts. Appreciate everybody joining us. Hit that like if you haven't already.
I feel something special happening in this draft.
All right, there we go.
Like Chase to us at 2, and then we push Burrow 2 rounds successfully.
You're jinxing it. Come on. You've just been posting screenshots constantly of getting sniped 1 pick away.
Oh, and people think I'm like super hard up and really bothered by it, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. I just like showing that I'm getting closer and closer. So we got Saquon, Jefferson, Bijan, CeeDee Lamb. It seems like we're building wide receiver in the first round and playing what comes back to us.
Yeah, Jefferson or Lamb.
All right, boys. Well, then who do you want?
Let's go Jefferson.
All right, I'm good with that.
I BBG, I think I saw you yesterday taking Lamb over Jefferson. I feel like my truth serum take is Lamb over Jefferson too, honestly.
Yeah.
But ADP, I'll take Jefferson.
It's just exactly. You gotta take Jefferson, I guess, when you can. I mean, or you can have 40% Lamb this year, which wasn't the worst thing to do with Chase last year, who was going at the 104. So time and play, like I'm definitely fine with taking Lamb over Jefferson. I don't know. For some reason, I thought about it right there, and I was like, Addison misses the first 3 games. I can just see Jefferson just scoring like 30 points the first 3 weeks. Yeah, let's just take Jefferson.
Oh, the cops are on to Bindles.
Damn, Bindles. Be trapping out here.
You know what, Kelly? I think that's fair. If we would have prioritized the Indianapolis stack, we would have said we trust our process, we trust our take. Full send. Very fair.
Yeah.
I do think from a CLV perspective, I doubt Dimes and AR get much more expensive. I don't think either one of those guys gets higher than pick 15 at this point, given the ambiguity in camp. Even if like Dimes is said to be the starter, whoever's named the starter gets maybe a 2 to 3 round bump max. Whereas if Dart is announced the starter week 1, I think he could rise as high as like round 14. So just from a CLV perspective, I think it's justifiable.
Yeah.
James Young knew.
Yeah, he knew.
I don't know. Slayton trapped us into Dart.
Harry, to be fair, any of the Dart FUD, I think, is settled in my mind that something called Tommy DeVito was able to start multiple NFL games and even have a game over 20 PPR points, just peppering low ADOT scam passes and scrambling. And if that can happen with under Dayball's tutelage, including Dimes becoming like a top 5 fantasy quarterback and beating Kirk Cousins and the Vikings at 13-4 in the first round of playoffs on the road, I think Dart has a chance to be pretty solid in fantasy, given he was a first round.
He's also got a much longer leash. If Dimes sucks, like, he
gets going.
Giants level, he could get benched easily. They could just go to the third string. They're going to blow up the whole thing. Steichen, you're out of here. Rich, we're not doing Rich anymore. Dimes is trash. We're just going to
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
That's a great point. Implosion risk for both Indianapolis and New York are pretty high. We're assuming it's probably higher and hotter for New York, but in the implosion risk of both offenses, the rookie quarterback's getting started in Dart versus whoever the interim coach doesn't feel as scared getting fired by starts. And again, that could just be where Tyler Warren is the quarterback now. And there's nothing we can do about it. Because Jeff Saturday was named the coach at one point, guys. The implosion risk is way higher for Indianapolis, and I think that's also extra coverage for that.
Ooh.
This is fun right here. Lot to think through.
Oh my God, boys, we did it. They let us get
buckets.
McBride at 23. Fools.
But then do we capitalize on these running backs here?
Maybe, probably.
They always feel better than these picks.
Yeah.
Like the wide receiver picks.
I'm sorry, Thad. Your owner is the biggest drug addict we know in the league. So it's not really. I'm sorry that your fanship is okay. I'm okay with Wilson. I'm okay with JSN. JSN's been. Both these guys have been falling a bit.
I like Wilson or probably.
Do Rice. Do Rice. Yeah,
Rice.
There you go. Yeah, just do Rice.
I think Rice has. I think Rice has higher outs to rise into this range anyway. With health news, like if he shows up to camp healthy, and starts catching, we get the stupid reports that we're already kind of seeing right now. They're like, hey, in 11-11s, Jalen Rose caught 11 for 11 passes, and like we get that shit from healthy Rice. Started out like at pick 16 or 15 in early drafts last year.
I'm taking Rice over Ladd if he's full go.
I mean, I see the market doing
it.
So,
yeah.
I'm very fine with that.
I think the rule right now, and I'll put you on some game right now, everyone watching. I think you take Rice, and Thad's gonna hate this. I think you take Rice in the third, probably every draft while you can.
No, I mean, if nothing more than a CLV game of like, hey, I got the guy in the third round every chance I could before he became a staple of the second, which I think is much more likely for Rice than it is for Worthy, because Worthy at no point with the Kelsey potential retirement, with the Rice potential suspension and injured, at no point was Worthy in the second round. That is damning for where they can end up ceiling wise.
I got a fun one for you. Let's say it's Chargers Chiefs week 17. It's a Ladd Rice 1-2 turn. Welcome to the future, boys. There it is.
I mean, Ladd is Amon-Ra St. Brown, so sure, fine.
And so is Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Rashee
Bowers
Rice
or Raiders Chiefs could do like a Genty Rice, Bowers Rice. Could be some stuff going on. I can't wait for the schedule.
Jalen Waddle was in the second round last year, so anybody at wide receiver can be in the second round. That's my hot take.
I don't know what to tell you about the Rice.
Where do you think
Matt
Rose is? I have my thought on this, but I'll shoot it to my guests. Where do we think Tet McMillan ends up by? I'm guessing close of BBM. Where does he end up?
Well,
probably up.
I don't know. Yeah, where do you think Bindles?
Probably up by like where MHJ, JSN, Wilson go. I think. I don't know.
I think he can rise that high. I mean, these guys are falling right now, and there's age concerns, there's efficiency and ceiling concerns, there's offensive environment concerns, and Marvin Harrison opened up in the fourth round. So I know the market can flood his ass lower. And then you're talking about an 8th overall rookie receiver who's 6'5". We've seen Calvin Ridley steam up to the 2-3 turn based on camp highlights. I definitely think a 6'5", 8th overall pick can do that as well, especially because, like, I mean, if you told me he's starting at the X, but they're also like, dude, if we go into week 1 and they've traded Adam Thielen, I'm taking Tet over almost all these guys every single time because he's 6'5", and now they're going to move him into the slot and outside, and there's no one that's going to fight him for targets to like be like a target monster.
Bryce Young, his rookie year when he was, the worst possible, still got Adam Thielen like 140 targets, I think it was. So you give that to, rookie tight end, rookie Tet pick 8 overall is, he could go easily right next to JSN. Just take him over the old guys, maybe. Like I can see people doing that, like taking him over Terry and Devontae.
Yeah,
Tyreek, maybe. I don't know.
I would certainly start cutting my Adams share with the delicious baking soda that is Tet McMillan.
I need to start calling him T-Mac, not Tet so much.
He said he doesn't, or no, what did he say? I forgot what he said now. He said he didn't want something. I'll have to look it up. Let me look it up.
Oh, what
Tet?
Royals is a 4th round rookie who, like, I think it's good that the team that figured out how to use Rice took Royals from like a dynasty perspective, but Rice has to like die in order to be supplanted. Like Rice was a higher draft pick. He's a bigger body. You're right.
That's
I
hilarious.
think Rice
that's
is
such
bigger.
a good diss. That's such
Rice
a good
could
diss.
be Amon-Ra on Halloween. I mean, Amon-Ra is not super tall. Is that what it is? That he said he wanted to be called T-Mac?
I think it was. I can't.
No, yeah. He said T-Mac or Nalo, which I think is his like I don't know what he is, Hawaiian but not Tet.
Come on, baby.
Nice. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
And that's why we punt running back, folks.
Come on.
That's
I hope this guy gives us James Cook in the 5th.
I've gotten him in the 5th a couple of times in these streets.
No,
we don't get him. All right, now what do we do? Because once again, like running backs are definitely like the best picks, but like, do we need a receiver? I don't know.
I'm very okay with Mixon here.
Absolutely, Mixon. I mean, they didn't even add anyone in the draft. I don't know, like.
Well, I mean,
Woody Marks.
You haven't met any of the Woody Marks in the 4th round slappies,
dude. That's not real.
I'm down for Mixon.
I mean, so I talked about it a little bit. Like Mixon I was investing heavily on him last year. The way they traded for him and extended him ahead of time when they had to. They talked about him as a workhorse. They obviously wanted to use him as a workhorse. They did up until his hip drop, high ankle sprain that was gruesome. He was the number 1 running back in usage and efficiency and points. And then he gets another sprain late in the season when he's just making it on volume behind a really bad offensive line. They've changed up the offensive line. They changed up the coordinator. And he's, his whole thing is his ceiling is very high if he doesn't get injured, especially how he's used. The coaching staffs, and especially in Houston, trust him. And they mentioned him. I think the new OC said specifically, I'll pull it up for journalism reasons. Nick Caley said, I want to obviously start off by establishing the run game. What's it going to look like? It's going to be based on what we do best. I love Joe's mentality. I love the way he runs, the way he finishes. Pause. He's a violent runner on contact. He's competitive. I've admired him for a long, long time, so I'm really excited. He's a really good player. I'm really excited to get to work with him. So I like Mixon in the 5th, and I'm going to take him as long as I can get him.
Yeah, that's bullish. No, I mean, it's an interesting time to draft, right? Like, just listen to Karain and like Bindfor even talk about this, just how best ball has changed so much, and like you just get the craziest running back, like projectable volume guys, like in the 5th round.
Are you saying that Eric's hot take that it's a great year for zero running back is
It is going to be a great year for zero running back, but just not yet. Just not yet.
He says that every year, by the way. because he finds a way to love whoever is in his pocket of the range. I do think it's a great year for
Which is a good thing to do. You got to love your players, all right? You got to love, get embraced.
I do think it's a great year to be versatile with where you take your running backs. That was true last year to an extent, but I think the way the pockets are, you can really arbitrage anyone you take 1 and 2 rounds later, all through like the top 10 rounds right now, based on what we know. And I think some of the strongest bets you can make are on guys that have historically had very strong roles and very strong efficiency with very strong ceilings, who have year over year the same coaching staffs, the same coaching talking points, and stable and like I could have just said stable environments. Guys like Joe Mixon, guys like Alvin Kamara. I like Mixon's ceiling because it's not Tyler Shuck and potentially less like, I could say, he's older. He's potentially got more question marks at O-line, quarterback, and the new, Kellen Moore target upside for running back, a little bit questionable. But, guys like Walker have split previously. Guys like Chuba, recently become like, so if I can bet on those guys, but like with just safer profiles, with same types of ceilings, I'm going to do that when I can. And I think Mixon provides a very nice place to do that, especially because I think I will not be surprised at all if like the third, like this like 4th and 5th round of receivers, maybe even like 4th through 7th is kind of landmine-y. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, it's pretty. Right. I think it could be pretty flat.
And year over year, it's one of the worst places to draft receivers, either from injury or just because we're drafting them ahead of these guys that are actually paying off ADP. So it's a place of the draft I'm getting comfortable taking strong running back profiles.
Are we gonna make BBG take a
Jennings here? Look at that. Yummy.
Kiss this team goodbye.
Gotta love Juwan Jennings anytime you get him. Don't worry, we'll double stack him. Make you happy.
No, don't do it.
Ooh, well, I mean, if we're fading Pearsall, then we have to take Jennings.
No, you don't, actually. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's the problem with the logic.
I see nothing wrong in this flawed logic at all.
We gotta get Judkins if you fall. We have to go Judkins. You have to.
I have to.
Yes, you do.
No. Not Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna push. I think I'm gonna go Judkins. I think you're gonna go Judkins.
Yeah, he's gonna come on.
Fine. I wanted to have
Judkins or Mixon. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
I think Judkins is just
for the quarterbacks.
I would like Judkins more if he didn't have. And sorry, PPR Tyler, I know this is slander to you, but like
they don't copy.
Judkins had a worse breakout score and a worse like total profile coming out for fantasy than a lot of guys of his athletic size, mold, and draft capital. And I think in a better offense, that's fine. Like in the Bears, I instantly be clicking. I think the problem is we know the quarterback situation in Cleveland's going to be rough. It's going to be volatile. It's probably going to be pass heavy under Flacco, and it's going to be run heavy under anybody else. The O-line was already kind of and it didn't get a lot of help. So I have questions about that. And then also the new run game coordinator they brought in college had a very inefficient run. So like granular levels, I can make a case for how he's a touchdown dependent 1-2 like down runner. Chubb, but worse. O-line, but worse. Like that does not feel like an auto smash in the 7th round whenever guys that have much stronger. But I'm saying like target, I think there's similar bets to make for volume that aren't good rushers, but could see 30, 40, 50 targets. And that's just a better fantasy ceiling, especially on a better offense. Like a running back who's dependent on touchdowns is not going to be very good or likely to crush ADP on an offense that's not going to score that many touchdowns. And I don't think as the offense, Kirk Cousins, it's a different story from like how many touchdowns they can score on the season. But right now, I think it's a very fragile environment for all the expensive ADPs of Judy, of Judkins, specifically.
Yeah, I mean, those are all fair points. I just think it's cheap enough here, and the wide receivers are just flat enough where I'm just betting on rookie upside.
I think he's the last of a tier is kind of why I got excited. Like if there were other guys there, like Aaron Jones is somewhat interesting, but I like Mason quite a bit. And Swift somewhat interesting, but just feels like Ben Johnson's going to add another back any day now. So he really just feels like a last of a tier. And then maybe drafts are changing, but usually there are decent wide receivers that come back to this.
I just think like I think the Judkins arbitrage is Jordan Mason at 106 to 110, and at that price, I mean he's Brian Robinson right now, and I have Brian Robinson at home, and
no, he's better than B-Rob. Come on.
I don't know that. We have not seen him take a single NFL snap in his
Dude,
college
he's
profile.
You seen this guy?
You have been PPR pilled, and I'm okay saying that.
No, I haven't been.
I'm going to be honest.
I was the original Judkins guy.
Robinson. He is kind of like Brian Robinson.
Yeah, you guys are just saying you see a big dude running with the ball, you call him B-Rob.
He's like he's like juiced up Brian Robinson though. Like he's not that.
That boy better be juicing up for me to be taking him in the top 75. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I think he's gonna be a great running back for you this year on this team.
Have you considered that he has red dyed dreads? That's the dog factor.
And him and Njoku have the same red dyed dreads, and it's going wheels up Cleveland offense this year. I think they get Shador to do it by then.
I don't think it was the biggest vote of confidence at Judkins that they got another arbitrage Judkins and Dylan Sampson. They were like, one of these guys got to work out, right? One of these boom bust old fuckers got to work, right? Well, that's the thing. I think there's a 70% chance the Browns offense sucks.
Okay,
ass.
you guys were screaming at me to take Diggs. I mean, Jesus, the Patriots.
Actually,
offense.
No, I didn't even get to present my Diggs case. I was screamed at to take Judkins.
Okay, well, perfect.
I would have been okay with Pickens.
Diggs is cool. I just don't get it. He's like 31, 32 coming off an ACL.
Yeah, but if they put him on the outside and he's like his competition's third round, Kyle Williams. Again, sorry,
who I've heard is the greatest wide receiver in history, actually.
Apparently.
Give me Egbuka.
Yeah, give me first round Egbuka. Like, I love this. I have like almost 40% Egbuka because I don't even know.
He's just a good pick. Yeah,
if you're gonna give me Egbuka at 95, I'll take him all summer.
Yes. Okay, now I feel good about taking Judkins there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This running back room is
an actual good player to good ADP. Yeah.
Dude, this running back room is going to score like 12 touchdowns over the first 7 weeks combined. Let's go.
Here's the thing: if Shedeur Sanders was actually likely to get to start multiple games with his accuracy, I'd be pretty okay with it. But he's a 5th round rookie. Are we going to take Kyler to pair with McBride?
Yeah, we don't have Mahomes.
It feels prudent. Yeah.
Let's do
it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So through
JJ McCarthy in our back pocket.
Exactly. And now he'll go at the
I believe in this Kevin Stefanski run game. Call me crazy. I believe in it.
I just wish Kevin Stefanski believed in improving the offensive line and quit acting like it's Dallas Cowboys 2020, Through 9 rounds, we have Kyler Murray, Omarion Hampton, Joe Mixon, Quinshon Judkins. You cannot stop us from 3 running back starts through 10 rounds. Try. Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Juwan Jennings, Amik Egbuka at receiver. Perfectly balanced as all things are as far as slappyism. And then Trey McBride, formerly Trey McGronk, score more than 3 touchdowns, please, my child. Through 9 rounds. Let's see what we got. Nothing crazy happening on the board. Connor going ahead is surprising because he's been a guy that's been falling. Swift at 75, I am out on, quite frankly. I'll buy him if he's the RB1 going into July and August camp. But right now, if it's open season and they still might bring in somebody to be the goal line back, that's a lot to pay for hopefully the preferred target scam of the Ben Johnson offense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of downsides still.
That's fair. I'm more worried about the dark side, about the Browns O-line. I'm just worried about the lack of quality depth and what it could look like with just one injury. It's a weak link system, and by not adding a lot more depth, I feel worse about how it can look if one guy misses time is really really what it's like. Yeah, I was buying Swift ahead of like Aaron Jones and Tyrone Tracy and Brian Robinson, like in this range, like the late 80s, mid 90s, hundreds. But now that's an insane rank right now.
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about Swift. No one knows who to take in the receiving game, and what if the running back is the answer the whole time? That's the key to the Ben Johnson
Swift
offense.
Curious.
Yep.
If Chicago does trade for a running back as good as Charbonnet or whatever, it's Jover for Swift.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, he's fragile in that sense. Then maybe they're not done. Which is why I'm taking a lot of Charbonnet and a lot of Ken Walker right now, because both of them seem to be like potentially wheel and dealed, and I think either one of them ends up in a more favorable landing spot.
Imagine Ken Walker in fucking Chicago. Oh boy.
Can I interest you boys in Jim Harbaugh just gets an offer he cannot refuse, and it's like, Ben, if you want Najee is yours, and Najee goes to Chicago, and Hampton gets to be the workhorse. Everybody wins.
I would love that, but
God, where
also
would you have to take Najee? I don't know if I can do it.
In that scenario, I think Najee goes back to the 6th round, and everybody hates it.
100%.
Yeah, I think that was the sharp play. When he was going around B-Rob and Scatterbo, he was the easy click.
Yeah, he was just gross, but he was a good click.
How do you guys feel about B-Rob at 90? Do you think that's an appropriate price for him? Kind of like as high as he needs to go?
Appropriate? Sure. A price I like? Not really.
Yeah.
I'd like him a little bit cheaper, honestly.
Do you guys have a lean for Scatterbo Tracy at this current time?
I have to lean Scatterbo, right? Better draft capital, and the new staff took him, so
just bigger, can handle more workload, and
it's just like Tracy's a 5th round rookie who had fumbling issues, and if there's going to be a timeshare, I'm going to take the new guy who might have the better profile.
This is a pretty exciting pick. I think we got some good options here.
Higgins. Oh my god!
Yeah.
We
just got the Houston double.
Coleman, right?
No, I like Keon Coleman. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, but
all right.
Not over Higgins. But if we want to do another receiver,
no, I will not stand for this Coleman propaganda.
Is Coleman just stopping himself from potentially being good this year?
I think Shakir getting extended and every slot receiver coming into Buffalo is really fucking Keon's ability to rotate in the slot and be like mega good in like a power slot role.
Okay. Do you want to go Stroud here to lock up our double?
No,
stack?
I think we've got coverage.
I think we need to go receiver over Tootin, to be honest. Because I feel pretty good about Hollywood, Kyle Williams, or Keon as like a spike week on the field guy playing.
But Tootin lets us go 5 running backs.
I kind of like 5 running backs. We took 3 in the first 6 rounds.
So who are we taking?
I like
Let's go Kyle Williams.
I like Tootin.
We faded Diggs with the Judkins pick.
Okay. I'm fine with Kyle. Yeah, I will give you Kyle.
This guy's the greatest wide receiver I've ever heard of.
If you didn't want Diggs in the 70s, then I think the prudent move is to invest in the cheaper pieces, saying they will meet or beat him fine. Yeah. But I think Tootin was more fun, and therefore I dock you points.
Tootin's way more fun. Tootin's my most drafted player so far, 43% Tootin. But
you're just leveraging off your Tootin bags.
I'm not. I think 3 running backs through 6 rounds, getting like I hit this range a lot because I have like an anchor RB, like one running back or none at that point, the way I draft. But I don't know. I just think it's pretty important to get another shot at wide receiver there. And I would have probably gone Coleman over some of these other guys, honestly. I just think he's could potentially be better than Shakir. I don't know.
Then I would like the Bills to act like they think that. And the contract
he's a rookie last year. What's he get? They got to pay someone, He
had a Swiss cheese profile coming in as a rookie.
Yeah, but he got hurt or something weird happened.
Okay, can I interest you in context?
Sure.
The Bills see what Keon Coleman does as a rookie, and they say, we're going to get Palmer, we're going to bring in Elijah Moore, and we're going to extend Shakir to a very healthy contract.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that scream confidence that he's going to evolve?
No. Here's the confidence: is he's the only one who's like a touchdown jump ball like spike week kind of guy profile on that team.
I hate this price. Like for what QJ was sent to the nether realms.
Well, dude, also think about how many rushing touchdowns they scored last year. Like maybe that could regress back to the passing game a little bit. Like
great shout by Kelly that J.K. Dobbins could sign to Chicago and the Chargers.
Is there correlation with that or something?
Well, it's just he's a free agent, but the Chargers just tendered him with that like fancy rare tender that the Browns also used, I believe.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird.
So apparently teams found out late in the process that a couple teams are sniffing around these vet running backs, and Dobbins is by far the best one on the market right now. So yeah, I mean Dobbins can do what Swift does. And so like to Thad's point about Swift, if it was any other coach but the coach that already benched Swift for not liking what he's doing, I'd be like, yeah, I mean you got to invest. But I can't ignore that this coach knows who it is. It's like coming in, it's like your boy dating your ex, and you're like, I didn't like you 5 years ago, and I like you now. And that's what we're shooting for.
He's definitely going to take back his ex-girlfriend that he dumped, right?
I don't know.
He's definitely going to do
I'm
that.
I'm buying. I think there's a really big dip on Buffalo receivers, and I think you should buy the dip on some of them, like Kincaid, Coleman. I think these are like people just give up after 1 year. Kincaid's coming into his third year.
The market didn't give up on Keon. They haven't given up on Kincaid.
He's pick 125.
QJ was 170 last year.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know what you said either.
Mom and Dad, stop fighting. Did we just go J.J. McCarthy here?
Push him around the corner.
I mean, we should absolutely push him if we have someone to push him for. Who are we pushing him for?
I like Noel. Noel, Biggs. You got. I like Rashad White.
Yeah, let's do Rashad. We both need running back, and I think he's the clearest target in that tier. He's coverage for our catchless Judkins and our potentially timeshared Hampton for the first few weeks of the season. And Egbuka has a Tampa Bay correlation.
Judkins is gonna blow your guys' mind.
I don't hate Judkins. I'm not like amazingly high on him, but I don't mind him.
Yeah, definitely McCarthy here. That feels good. We can stop with Kyler.
Just remember when PPR Tyler was pushing us to take Rashad White at pick 50 overall last year.
No, come on. We'd already seen Rashad White be slow and bad. Like, I haven't seen it with this guy yet, at least.
No,
that was just bad because we haven't.
I'm not
seen
comparing him to Judkins. I'm just saying. I just like to grill PPR Tyler.
For sure.
I don't get enough screen time with him, so I have to let it out when I'm on with you guys. But
yeah, I think I'm taking the rookies over Keon most times, but I want to respect the fact that he was a first round pick, but I don't want to respect that he was a bad profile that had a middling year. And that's my issue, is that like, if Keon was going to get a chance to like rotate in the slot, I think he has much better odds of hitting his floor and ceiling, but he's profiling like Allen Robinson, where it's like he's a big body receiver guy, and the Bills are just not playing that type of ball right now. And despite playing 13 games, he earned less than 60 targets last year. So it's just like, and just wasn't that explosive. So it's like, I don't know what to do with him if the Bills are going to use the rotation at that cost. At that cost, I feel like he has to hit, more big plays than he doesn't. And the Bills are kind of playing small ball right now.
He averaged, this is why I like, because I feel like he's the spikiest week of the group, and he averaged, 20 yards per catch last year, which is like, he's that guy for the Bills that can hit your lineup on a big long touchdown and stuff like that. I know it's kind of an expensive price, but you get that baked in with what if he does take a step year two, kind of all in one. In my opinion.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting rationale here into the wall
because it's
by
like Drake
Schneid
May,
and
like this whole
Steve.
Patriots thing. I'm with it. Like Steve saying, like he can see the Drake May
Fair.
breakout. I can see the Drake May breakout. I love Drake May. However, we're still talking about Josh Allen here. Like we have definitive evidence that this man is potentially throwing 40
I kind of feel like
touchdowns.
Jaden Higgins is just this year's Keon Coleman. I'm fine betting on it where we took him, but it's like to me they're pretty much the same guy. And
Sure, but let me get a dice roll on the new guy having a better rookie year.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. I'm like, maybe.
We took Kyle Williams over.
Yeah, I can't have two of the same motherfucker on my roster. Like they can't both suck. I'll kill myself. So.
You're either first or last.
I'm coming around to it because I say I don't like his price, but I don't like Hollywood at his price. I don't like Besh second round pick. I don't know. You know,
I think what we learned is we should have taken a wide receiver where we took Judkins. Then you don't have to look for wide receivers.
Oh wow! I wonder who could have said that. Huh? Who is this oracle?
At least it's only a $5 lesson.
To be fair, it was me who pushed us towards Judkins,
I gave into democracy, and much like this country, I lost. Yeah, I much rather like the 2v2 of insert receiver here and then Tootin over.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Non-draw.
Live and learn.
Yeah, I think Noel is just better than Higgins, like just as a football player. But obviously, I'll default to the draft capital. But I still I don't love it. I'll take the shot, but
yeah, I do think Higgins has at least a clear role to be like T. Higgins-esque in profile. Wrapping up tight end with Strange here seems fine.
Totally. Yeah. I don't see how Strange doesn't get like 100 targets this season.
I do, but it's not the most likely.
Right. Well, okay. Travis Hunter literally plays no corner and he plays 100% offense.
It's Hunter, BTJ are just fucking awesome, and Strange is so middling that they end up splitting the tight end into a rotation like the Chargers have.
Brendan Strange famously better than Tyler Warren in college. Keep in mind. Famously.
I also think Nolan's better than Higgins, and I think I want to buy Nolan at his price as well because I think he could beat out Kirk. And then I think ideally they just Higgins and Noel swap inside outside and both are viable, but then I'll take the cheaper guy.
Smart.
2-4-6-2 build here. We see anything standing out?
No. Alec Pierce is early season kind of stuff. Michael Wilson I like Michael Wilson actually. That's who I want.
Can we not pull him up? Can we push him?
I don't know. They didn't take anyone and we got a long turn, so it's up to you. I'm fine if you want to just do Pierce or whatever.
I love to push.
I love to push too. Perfect.
We also get some divisional correlation.
Sure, a little Strange Pierce turn. Yeah.
Strange Pierce go win.
We got the whole AFC South here, except for the Titans.
Yeah. What could go wrong? That was a viable thing to do last year. Are we going to want a third quarterback? And if so, who?
Let's see.
We can always
be Danny Dimes,
Slayton Dart, baby,
or Slayton,
or Dimes with Pierce.
I'm okay with that.
One deep ball.
I might be Richardson with Pierce. Honestly, I think if Richardson's having a breakout again, it might be with Richardson more so.
Pierce famously worked just fine with 40-year-old Flacco arm, so
that's true, but it did not work out with 29 or whatever year old Gardner Minshew because he could not throw the ball down the field.
Dimes hit Slayton enough. He
doesn't
throw a good ball, but he throws a ball.
Dimes's arm is not terrible. He just isn't accurate, but he does have a decent arm.
Well, when you have a giraffe neck, I think it's more just like your vision, like hard to kind of like, a lot of mental processing. What is my body doing? Brain's so much further away from your body.
So just to put a final point, because I think the Higgins Noel discussion was a good one. I like the opportunity for both guys, considering this offense. Where we were drafting Nico, Tank, and Diggs last year. This offense utilizes 2 and 3 wide receiver personnel pretty frequently to different matchups. They run fine out of both. They don't have really the tight ends to be very strong to run a whole lot of 12 right now. So I'd expect 11 to potentially be more heavily utilized. So that gives all three guys more viability. And on Kirk's 1-year deal, they traded a late pick for and did not extend like they did for Mixon, and then drafted Noel. I am okay betting against Christian Kirk for Noel being able to like do more, because they mentioned Noel as a deep, like the deep portion of the field. So essentially doing Christian Kirk things, but deep. And Higgins might be a really good power slot role, but they mentioned that Higgins is like a Nico Collins clone, which matches his profile. All that to say, this offense is more dangerous with Noel on the field over Kirk if Noel is good, considering he could be a deep slot and do some outside work. And then also versatility. Like they can kind of just mix and match a little bit like they did with Tank Dell's rookie year, where he was more effectively outside, but he also came into the slot a little bit. So, those guys, and as Darkside mentions, the non-Nico Collins Texans are pretty cheap given the outside roles. And so I'm willing to pass over the old veteran that has no reason to play late, unless we get coaching speak that like, Kirk is locked into the slot role. And even then, I think Noel could certainly push with a strong summer. But Kirk was mentioned specifically for third downs. So that kind of put my radar up initially after taking him where he was ranked too low. But when he was getting into the 90s, I'm like, am I really taking Christian Kirk here? Like the volume is fragile if they take a like top rookie and then they take Higgins and then they take Noel. So I'm a little bit worried about Christian Kirk at cost. And so I'd be leveraging that with Higgins and Noel for sure, because both guys look really interesting. Noel might be the more talented guy. And I think his upside is just like he gets on the field more than Higgins because they're both rookies and whoever is good gets field time. What do y'all think?
I like Noel at cost 100%.
Yeah, love Noel at cost. I think him and Higgins actually go kind of close to each other by the end of all this. And if the team tells us that Noel is looking better, whatever, like Noel's running with the first team, Higgins isn't, like I'm not going to be surprised. Like I don't think draft capital second to third round is going to matter that much for them. I think they wanted to just take some swings and then kind of see what they got. So we'll know with the camp news. And then, Kirk, same thing. I kind of figured they would take a receiver, and then I stopped drafting Kirk as well.
I think running back here makes sense.
Sure. Yep. Who, though?
We just shrug and take Jalen Wright?
I don't mind him, Lloyd. We can just take Jalen Wright. I mean, it's not sexy.
Yeah, Shipley feels kind of safe. I don't know.
Safe to do what? Watch Saquon from the cuck chair?
Safe to kiss Saquon's knee after he hurts it and then go into the game, hopefully. I don't know.
Man, the fact that he could not beat out Kenny G to do that last year gives me
they don't have Kenny G now, so he's the new Kenny G.
I know, but the Eagles just go trade for fucking Charbonnet or whoever because it's the Eagles. They will just
okay. Here's a bull case for Shipley. The Eagles are one of the best teams in football, a new dynasty for years to come, and they're beating every team by 25 points at half, and so Shipley just plays half the game, basically.
Kenny G didn't get to do that.
Yeah, well, Saquon's getting old.
But it might work for him. Dude, if they sign anybody, Shipley goes to zero. So I
like Lloyd.
Lloyd's cool. Hunter, Corum. I don't mind taking your shot at because we know the Rams backfield is valuable. We just don't know who to take. So you can call your shot if you want.
Well, Jacobs famously got the least amount of target work and design target. Like despite seeing his highest design targets late in the season, his targets per route run and his target share were still abysmal. So and Lloyd got talked about as the pass down back. We've mentioned that a few times in this program. So we saw the Green Bay back be valuable with passing, whether it was Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, or even Emmanuel Wilson last year. So, we didn't take Jacobs in the third or second round. We're taking Lloyd here again because what could go wrong, reinvesting. But it seems like the staff likes him, third round running back. They didn't do a whole lot to address it. So, may as well take shots on a guy who has a healthy offseason. And
they took another third-round running back, Savion Williams. Savion Williams, RB2.
Well, I have news for you. The staff wants him to be a receiver. So
I know.
I think
coming
we
for
took
Jaden
too many
Reed's
running
job.
backs. Honestly, I think if you go 3 running backs through 6 rounds, that you got to stop with 5.
And that's why I'd rather just go for guys that I think have a solid role.
That's fair. Yeah.
And Pat over here, the CLV game, yeah. If he's the
But
RB2 going into camp, he rises a few rounds.
So this is 100% then a wide receiver pick then. I think we have to go receiver.
Yeah, we have to go receiver.
Unless we want Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes.
At this point, if Richardson's there in the 18th with Pierce, I might like Richardson more. I wasn't kidding about that.
I mean, they're the same bet. I don't care, but
it fits better with Pierce. Like he throws the ball like 60 yards to Pierce all the time.
It's a bet on Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair. I still think Dimes is the quarterback that they shout out less. Oh, thank God he goes.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to do it either. We need a receiver. We have like 4 rookies and then like Juwan Jennings. So here's our 7.
Here's our 7. Justin Jefferson,
6.5.
Rashee Rice, Cromulent Jennings, first round Egbuka, second round Higgins, third round Kyle. We took them in order.
I'll say this is a Juwan Jennings ass wide receiver room. Like at least we went Egbuka, Higgins, Kyle Williams. We tried to get fun after we took Jennings.
Slayton, I think the incentive for Jones to thrive is that they don't want to get fired, and by completing more passes, they're less likely to get fired by the cokehead owner. I think that's the incentive. The incentive is to show, hey, we're good at our job. It's just that guy. That guy won't do anything. He doesn't have the playbook. Yeah. Not us. Don't shoot. That's the incentive.
They need a scapegoat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good incentive, but that's absolutely the incentive. That's why they gave him $4 extra million. They said, please God, come here. Do not go anywhere else.
Any late stacks with our quarterbacks? Do we want to do a Felton maybe?
Oh, so here's the thing. If we rock with these 2, fine. I'm just asking the question.
I'm 100% wide receiver here.
Yeah, I think
I'm fine with those guys.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go Felton. Yeah, just kind of break ties to the team I'm already betting on.
I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. But we did get his wide receiver 1, so I'm okay taking a shot on Neo Michael Thomas.
I don't know about all that. They have Franklin Vele. Like that is such a crowded.
Vele is ass. Franklin's ass.
I don't know, man. I saw you guys dropping Vele in the Dynasty League. I put in a Vele bid this morning. You guys are tripping.
Anytime you can get a 27-year-old second-year wide receiver
he's not 27.
He is. He's like 26 or 27. I swear.
And that's why Peyton likes him. He's big and he knows the playbook.
He is 27. What the hell?
Yeah. He's old.
How is he so old?
Yeah, he's 27.
Because he was a 26-year-old rookie. It was awful.
He's the Tyler Shock. He's the Tyler Shock of wide receivers.
And you know what? Before he hurt his rib cage trying to give self-fellatio, he was having an okay stretch.
What?
He was.
I'm joking.
No.
Oh my God.
He got cracked ribs, and then the plan ended.
Anyways,
I think we go stacked. I think we go the stacked guy.
I agree. Man, this team would have looked a lot better without fucking Judkins at 74.
No, it looks fucking sick, dude. Chargers running back coming on late season, week 17 against Rice. Mixon and Judkins out the gate scoring points. Rashad White kind of mixing in with that too. Pure handcuffs there. You got elite rushing with Kyler saying he wants to run more this year after, last year he's banged up still from the ACL. So hopefully that comes to fruition. McCarthy's got a little mobility. It's going to pay off 146 or whatever that number is. Stacked with Jefferson, double stacked, like a pocket passer, double stacked. It's beautiful.
So here's the fun thing about Tutu as Thad gives me vomit emojis. Here's the deal, buddy. Felton, KJ Osborne, who sucks, famously had 2 games in the playoffs a few years ago with Kirk Cousins, fancy JJ McCarthy, meaning you're saying, simply being open between, Jefferson and Hawkinson and just scoring long touchdowns in catch-up mode. So we know the third receiver on a good team and a good offense is viable. And if any guy misses time, Felton, they said they liked Naylor, but they wanted more out of it, then invested more than they invested in Naylor. And Felton's like explosive, good, 3rd round pick, solid. So it's just long touchdowns. That's all the thesis is. Stacked up with our quarterback and leveraging other guys drafted.
Yeah.
there's a clear role for him to take, which is
and maybe gets off to a hot start with Addison being suspended or something. You never know.
I mean, I think it's like what 70% that Addison gets suspended at least a game to 3. So agree there. And if he gets to start hot, he can maintain more along the same lines of Tutu. He was signed to an extension early on before free agency, $10 million. And without Cooper Kupp on the field, Tutu like had viable stretches of target share and targets per route run. So it's like he's just for best ball, he's more likely to score long touchdowns with a more viable receiver in Adams than Kupp. But that's the simple thesis as we wrap up here with a 2-6-8-2, Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy, Hampton, Mixon, Judkins, Rashad White, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Jawan Jennings, Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, Alec Pierce, Ty Felton, and Trey McBride and Brenton Strange. 2 solid teams. You gotta mix up how you're building. Let me swap to this as we close out. I do this and I do this. All right, boys. As we wrap up here, Bindles, Eric, thank you so much for joining me today. Go ahead and plug what you got going on today and this week.
You go first, Bindles.
Yeah, just did a stream with Adam from South Harmon and BDGE talking Dynasty for 2 hours. Just finished right before this, so go check that out. He's a great Dynasty mind, and we got real deep into the Dynasty game. So go check that out. I'm gonna do a stream with Emo and Mathology on Friday. The fish are bonking back once again. And then next week, I'm going to do a best ball stream with Ron Stewart and my co-host Ferris. So be sure to, go check it out and go join my Discord if you are not already in there. And on to you, BBG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're me and Emo Cowboy are going live in 8 minutes over on my channel. I think we'll just do a quick potty break and I might eat a little food or something, make a phone call. But yeah, we'll be live in 8 minutes over there, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And if you're not going to tune into that, no worries. But I just know that I stream every single day. And you can find me. All my socials are Best Ball Guy, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. So I'll see you guys
their
around.
stuff is in the description. Come check us out. PPG and I are going to go draft on his channel right after this. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Had a really good time drafting Best Ball Mania and Puppy. And with all this talk about the last round, I need y'all to tell me who you're clicking in the last round because I need help. Thad says I'm a sick man for drafting Tutu Atwell and Ty Felton. So you tell me, who are the best picks in the 18th round? Is it Eli Mitchell? Is it Jarquez Hunter? He's probably not going to be in the 18th round anymore. So appreciate everybody for joining us. I need to know who your 18th round picks are as we crank up for Hot Best Ball Summer. I will be back with we're also doing Typhel Tower Thursdays.
Typhel Tower is on PPR Tyler's channel this week. And
you want more of this? Catch us over on BBG tonight. Catch us over on PPR Tyler's Thursday, and then catch me on Bindle's channel Friday as I just ragdoll my way around town. Thanks, everybody. Big week for all of us in the draft streets. Good luck in your drafts. Catch y'all next time. All right, fellas.